how can I align myself with a vehicle that I know a couple things respectfully? People are going to leave this earth, and people are going to need a doctor and get sick. These are two things I know that to be a fact. I was taught a long time ago that if you want to be successful, you got to solve people's problems. And the thing about life insurance, it allowed me to solve problems that gave people that peace of mind, that security, that comfortability of knowing that they don't have to try to figure things out in the event of an untimely passing. So it was a no-brainer for me to say, you know what, how do I lock in?
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. And I got a special guest coming in to you today. It's going to be a great conversation all the way from Columbia, South Carolina. This gentleman we met back maybe 3 years ago at an event that I was doing down in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we connected at that moment, and little did we know 3 years later, he'd be doing some really cool things, and we'd be connected in this way. I'm happy to bring on Marcus Simon from Simon Legacy Financial. Welcome to the podcast, Marcus. What is going on, my man?
Man, Roger, better than amazing, man. How's it going?
It's going great. It's great to have you on the podcast, brother.
Man, thanks for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm excited for people to hear your story, a little bit about your journey, and about maybe what they can see for themselves in a journey in the life insurance space. This is the Life Insurance Academy podcast. We have a large audience, weekly listeners, subscribers, people that participate in our academy for courses and coaching. But more so, the podcast content reaches over 100,000 people every month. And this week, they get to hear from you. They get to hear from you and hear your story. And when we were doing our pre-interview, you used a little word called setbacks. I had a setback, and that setback was a setup for a new change in your life that I'm excited for our listeners to hear about, and about what you're doing with Simon Legacy Financial. Man, tell us a little bit about your background, how you even got into the space, a little bit about your journey to when you pivoted in 2022.
Absolutely. First off, like as my mom would say, first giving honor to God, man, who's definitely the entire head of my life, man. I want to give it back to you, Roger, for even inviting me, to this podcast. Just kind of like you said, man. My name is Marcus Simon. I'm 37 years of age, certified financial coach. I graduated from South Carolina State University in 2011. I'm originally from a small town called Sumter, South Carolina. I reside now within Columbia, South Carolina. Immediately after college, I went to get my master's in 2013 in finance. And after I graduated, man, I jumped into the corporate America role, just following that path I thought was, go to school, get a good education, get a good job. That's what I was taught, right?
Yep.
I think a lot of us probably were actually taught that role, but Roger, man,
everybody's been taught that.
Yeah, so I thought that was the way to go, and not discouraging or saying that's not the way, but just a part of my journey, man. I've always had a passion for people and finances. So, I started out having these fancy degrees, and I'm going to work with suit and tie, wearing these fancy suits and stuff to work. But if I can be honest, Roger, my bank account wasn't reflecting the degrees and the suits I was wearing. So
yeah,
I was trying to figure out what vehicle or opportunity with my skill set could I take advantage of that can allow me to catapult me to those goals. And that's when I got exposed to the direct sales network marketing industry, which gave me my first stab at entrepreneurship, that first stab. And fast forward, almost a decade later, it's funny because the insurance industry was always in the back of my mind. I've had people that try to get me involved in insurance for years, and I wanted nothing to do with it. But something special happened in 2023 that allowed me to really, really convert to this industry, and it's changed my life ever since.
Now, you're married, you have children. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Ronnie. Her and I have been married now coming up on 3 years. We actually have a beautiful daughter that's 14 months, Raylan. I have two boys, Marcel and Caden, 15 and 12 years old. Yeah, so a beautiful, beautiful family. That's why I'm doing this.
And now you said something about your wife in the pre-interview. You didn't. I'm going to give you a chance to say it again.
Listen, I'll tell you again, she's exceptionally beautiful.
No,
Yeah,
Ronnie, that was for you because he said that in the pre-interview, and I wanted to get it recorded, so it's there in infinitum because this goes on the internet and it's out there forever. So
yeah, make
if
sure you
you're ever
post that.
wondering, he said that on a personal note to me, and I just wanted you to hear that. So when a guy thinks his wife's beautiful, it's a great thing. I always keep those sentiments, man.
Thank you, sir.
And so you got a lot to fight for, but you had some struggles, some challenges. The suits you were wearing weren't representing the income you were making. Tell me about that.
Yeah, man. First thought is if you get this degree, and not a discourage to anyone that's in college or going to college, but the path I was taking, the goals I set for my family, just to really fight for my future. Unfortunately, that journey didn't align at that time. Like you said, had those suits on. I was trying to get the fancy baking jobs and things like that, but that didn't work in returns of the favor. I went to job for job. They said I was overqualified because of the degrees. The ones that I wasn't overqualified for said you didn't have enough experience. So it's like, man, I'm at a rock and a hard place. Going from job to job to job from about 2011 to probably about 2015. Man, I was really just trying to figure things out. I got a great job in around 2016, and I was doing that plus direct sales and network marketing at the time. Had a great run over those time periods. Earned my first six figures in 2020 that allowed me on this very day here, to really submit a resignation letter to my corporate America job at the time that I was walking away. I did that in good faith and good candidates as well. And I've been a full-time entrepreneur ever since.
So I don't know if you know this or not, but I too was working for a corporate national company in sales, and I had a side hustle in the network marketing business in my
Wow.
first 10 years of my life. Well, I don't know if it went for 10 years. It probably went for 6 or 7 years. And
Okay.
I broke that six-figure threshold for the very first time with a combination of those two. But man, I was burning the candle on both ends and running hard.
I was
And I
burning
felt
the
like
candle with both
I
hands,
felt
man.
like I was the only one making money in the whole organization. Everybody else wanted to make the money they thought I was making, and I was spending a third of it back into the business, just trying to support the business.
Yeah, that
And
was
that's all the stuff they don't teach you when you jump into something like that, or you don't realize. But I will tell you, Marcus, man, I learned some great principles. I got exposed to some great people. I started reading books. I started thinking differently about my life and what it could be because of some of the principles I learned from there. So for me, other people may look back with some disdain on like direct sales or network marketing companies, but I think it was a great proving ground, training ground for me to learn a lot of the principles that really has gotten me to where I am today in a desire to do something for myself and to create independence. And I think that's maybe a part of your story where you had a setback, because I believe in your journey in the network marketing business, direct sales, after you resigned your corporate job, you went full time, you realized you didn't have control of the business. What happened and what was this setback?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So like you said, a great point, not having the control of the business, and there being internal and some external factors that were out of my control. So to get to a point where I grew an organization to a few hundred of people nationwide around the country, where a lot of my income was based on the development and leadership of those individuals. But unfortunately, that business took a turn in 2022. I lost, probably 90% of my income, 90% of my entire team and organization because of transitions in the business that were out of my control. So as I, grew and married at that time, that year, I got to a point where I said, any decision I made in the future, I have to keep sustainability at the forefront. I have to keep time freedom at the forefront. But on my journey at that time, that wasn't the case, so I lost a lot of that throughout those transitions.
So losing 90% of your your business team because of internal transitions you didn't have control over, you had probably been telling the story for a bunch of years that you were in business for yourself.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, Roger,
And your people believed that they were in business for themselves.
absolutely.
Right. But you soon realized that you didn't actually own the business that you were building.
Absolutely.
How many people, man, get bought
And
into
in
an
fact,
idea like that? Yeah.
I made a post, Roger, in 2020 on this day, and you can kind of see how gut wrenching that was. I made a post that said I retired at 32 and I fired my boss. Right. So to be on that high, to represent that, and to have all that crumble, that could be an emotional trigger, for you at that time, of embarrassment, of guilt, of shame, of, did I let my family down? Did I let my team down? Or did I let the people that were following me down?
Are you ready to launch your insurance career? Excel Solutions is your go-to leader in life, accident, and health insurance pre-license training. Their cutting-edge e-learning platform is packed with rich content. Think interactive assessments, engaging videos, and customized learning paths, all tailored to your learning style. Being students ourselves, we've trusted Excel now for years to deliver top-notch training, offering high pass rates. Their streamlined prep review courses and the exam simulator are really your secret weapons to nailing the state exam the very first time. Now, you thought it couldn't get any better. Well, it just did. Life Insurance Academy listeners, you receive an epic 50% discount, reducing the regular course fee from $199 to only $99. So, all you have to do is use partner code LIA at liapodcast.org/Excel. Now, Excel spells XCEL. So don't think about it any longer. Dive headfirst into your insurance career with Excel Solutions' premier pre-license training with that exclusive 50% discount just for you. Get the code, get licensed, and excel in your insurance career.
As we were talking in our pre-interview, you were telling me about, this thing that happened, and it was just an internal decision that the people running the company made, and it changed the economics for everybody, and everybody scattered, right? And you had people that you had poured into, you were caring for, you were investing in. What about them? And how did you ultimately decide to turn your setback into your setup?
Beautiful, man. Kind of like you said at the forefront, the thing about direct sales is there's a lot of core principles that they teach you. And one core principle that I hold on to this day is relationships. So even though those setbacks happen, I still maintain, Roger, good relationships. So to be honest, man, things got to a point where around the end of 2022, there's a decision that had to be made, because if I want to provide for my family, I got to put food on the table. So it's either you go back to corporate America or you got to figure something out. But what happened was I leveraged a relationship, a very close friend of mine that was doing exceptionally well within the direct sales industry. I'm sorry, within the insurance industry, specifically final expense. I picked that phone up, man. I made that phone call. One of my coaches and mentors to this day actually recommended me give him a call. And I gave him that phone call. And that one phone call changed my life.
That phone call changed your life. How did that open a door for you? And then what happened? How did you transition? And did any of those people in that other organization follow you because of those same values and principles in the relationship?
Man, great question. So that phone call, this individual, he was doing exceptionally well, as far as the financial industry, as far as life insurance, but he broke down the opportunity. He broke down what the income potential looked like in a 90-day period when it came down to final expense. And I'll be honest, man, sitting where I was sitting at that time, I don't know any other industry where you can take a test, pass an exam, and in a 30-day window, you can literally earn $10,000 your very first month. You can earn almost $100,000 in a 120-day period. And once he said those words to me, man, I said, I immediately, I'm going to take this exam. I'm going to get the exam. But guess what, Roger? I failed my exam 2 times. I don't know if I said this on the actual podcast, right? Right. But the third opportunity, I was able to actually pass that exam. And at that time, when I initially started, it was just myself. No one came with me. It was just me, myself, and I that partnered within the insurance industry. I struggled, that those first couple of times passing that exam, but that very first month in insurance, it was life changing.
Now, were you doing in-home meetings at that time, face-to-face sales?
Yes.
All right. So you were working leads and door knocking final expense leads. Yeah.
Absolutely.
In Sumter, South Carolina.
In Columbia specifically. Yes, sir.
In Columbia. By the way, I've sold final expense in Sumter.
Oh, beautiful. Wow.
Yes. And help train people down that region. I mean, I got stories down there. I got stories from down Charleston area, all the way from Columbia, all the way down to Charleston and everywhere in between. But a lot of great people in that region, man. So you got started. It was a life-changing. And then, so here's the cool thing that happens. And I always say this to new agents getting into business, because we hear this all the time in our DMs and our comments on YouTube and on Instagram from the reels that we see. People hit us up and say, man, how do you recruit? How do you attract people? I'm successful at sales now. How do I build a team? Like, we get those messages and comments all the time. And I would say success is your biggest attractor for growth. Success, personal success. Personal success is also the best revenge, for things that have happened to you. And you may not be, I don't say direct your angst at an individual, but you can direct your angst at a situation and say, I will never put myself in that situation again. And I will work hard to be someone who that never happens to again. And I believe sometimes, man, when you get hit in the face with reality, you got a new child on the way, you've been married, you just let go your 6-figure salary, your corporate job, you're gone full time, and then someone yanks that rug, man, it is a gut punch.
Yeah.
Like you said, man, it gives you, you got to have a checkup from the neck up and say, am I capable now of doing something? And what am I going to do? Am I going to shrink or am I going to strive? And so, man, I want to know about what happened in that first 12 months and what transition and where you are now, who you found, and what the opportunity looks like now for Marcus Simon Legacy. And did anyone follow you, or are you out there slinging it on your own? I want to hear the story.
Yeah, man. Man, great question. And just kind of like you said, man, I directed that energy to saying to myself at this stage of my life, being married, once again, a beautiful wife, beautiful daughter, children. I said I would never put myself in a situation again where there's not a level of sustainability, that there's not a foundation and room for growth, right? Because that setback came because it lacked all those things. So pivoting to the insurance industry, man, I said to myself, how can I take the same skills as I have, my love for people, my passion for people, but put myself in a space where there's some sustainability? Let me tell you now, when it comes down to life insurance, it's not because people are going to die someday. It's really because the people that you love are going to live. So I said to myself, I said, man, how can I align myself with a vehicle that I know a couple things? Respectfully, people are going to leave this earth, and people are going to need a doctor and get sick. These are two things I know that to be a fact. So if I can provide a solution, I was taught a long time ago that if you want to be successful, you got to solve people's problems. And the thing about life insurance, it allowed me to solve problems that gave people that peace of mind, that security, that comfortability of knowing that they don't have to try to figure things out in the event of an untimely passing, that they don't have to worry about have to have GoFundMe's and all these different components. So it was a no-brainer for me to say, you know what, how do I lock in? Now, certain traumas, if I can be honest, when I first started out, Roger, I didn't want to build a team because I built these big organizations that just went away. And so I say, you know what, man?
You're like, I don't want to let people down.
Yeah, I don't want to let people down. I don't want to do this. So I'm like, how do I have personal production and just focus on that? So, in my first 30 days, I earned $10,000 a month in that very first 30-day period.
You were motivated.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I was motivated. That was off my own pen. That wasn't building a team or
You
recruiting.
didn't want to win. You had to win.
Yeah, there was no choice, right? But fast forward as we look over the journey as to the birth of Simon Legacy Financial, is I couldn't run from who I was. And who I am is attracting and developing people. Who I am is cultivating leaders and developing people to believe in themselves. And so that's when I got to a point where I said, yeah, you can be comfortable, just doing what I was doing. But to really impact and to really get to where I was trying to go, Roger, I had to bring people along with me. I had to empower other people within a vehicle of opportunity for them to be able to grow in and for them to be able to scale. So I got fortunate. I have a great friend, I would say, like a sister to me, Brittany Garrison. She was actually my upline in our previous venture, whatnot, a great coach and friend as well. And she saw the vision, her and I having small conversation and things of that nature, because I believe one thing, Roger, I believe people don't join companies and things, like people join people. So
that's right.
What comes down to how you treat people. And one of the things that Brittany Garrison said all the time, people will never forget how you make them feel.
That's right.
Doesn't matter what happens in the world. That's one thing they'll never forget. So her and I actually formed a partnership and aligned together, things of that nature. And now Simon Legacy Financial has, several agents that are, doing well, that are growing, that are learning, but have so much room for opportunity and potential growth as well.
That's awesome, man. So where are you now? Tell us about your journey. What does your business look like? Who are you partnered with? What does that support look like for? And you've got more people. Obviously, there's a growing organization there now.
Absolutely.
So talk about that next piece, because new people are listening, and sometimes people are watching, and they're hearing the journey, and they go, "I relate to that. I've had setbacks. I've had stuff change on me. I want to fight for my freedom. I've been in a place where I've got to win. It's not that I want to win, but I've got to win. I've got people that I don't want to let down. I've got family that's counting on me, and they're wondering if they can do it."
Yeah.
What are some of the keys that you have found to your success? You said relationships were real important, and I know you found some important relationships in your trajectory and what you're doing now with Simon Legacy. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, man. I think I'll be remiss if I say, I couldn't have done this by myself, right? And I think if you're someone that's watching and someone's brand new, I think oftentimes, a lot of people get self-conscious about feeling like you have to do it alone versus being a student. And those relationships I was able to build, as soon as I got started off in the industry, fast forward to 2025, I was able to align myself with certain individuals like True Wealth and Mike and Jalen, who are, their leadership is literally second to none, that allowed me to really be able to tap into the leader I know I can be, that mentor, that coach, but to really scale at a high level. But I wouldn't have been able to do that without leveraging those relationships, without being teachable and coachable, without really modeling great individuals like those guys. They're doing, we're not going to really get into numbers and things of that nature. I probably couldn't even count, right? Some of the success that they're having, but not even from an income standpoint, just seeing how those two gentlemen, their heart for people. And that's one of the things I tell Mike all the time, man. I talk to him often, Jalen as well, but how they make their team feel, how they make their organization feel. So I said to myself, well, if I want to have some level of success outside of money, how do I make the team feel? How do I help them grow? How do I help, that raise their belief and awareness and things of that nature? But a lot of that does come from the partnerships. It comes from having a good blueprint and system, like we actually have in place. My current I Am What Lasting Mark and things of that nature. Seeing what they're doing on a high level as far as their leadership, but ultimately, man, it gives me a blueprint of success that I personally believe the average everyday person that has a strong why, that really has something to fight for, something to win for, that decides to look at the insurance industry and figure out, well, can I too do it too? I hear all these big success stories and these big numbers and all those things, but what about me? I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of, may not come from a background of wealth and all those things. Can I too do it? And I'm a testament, man, that even through trial and error, if you stay consistent, if you believe big enough, if you add that skill set and times that by faith, man, listen, it's a beautiful thing.
Mike and Jalen are obviously two special individuals with the True Wealth organization. And I remember it was only like 3 years ago that they came here and sat in this studio and did their first interview with us saying, hey, we can write business, but we need coaching on how to grow a team and grow an organization. Can you help us with that? So that was the ask when they reached out to us here at the Life Insurance Academy. And we started working with them and initially just helped them with leads. And that grew into much bigger and much better things. And we now have a fantastic relationship with that entire organization and their leadership. And I love those two guys. And I've been blessed to get to know you. And so when I got introduced to you, I guess we met at an event down in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Was it, you had said it was 3 years ago to the day? Something
No,
like that?
Well, 3 years ago to the day is not today as far as us actually meeting. It's probably roughly around September time when
Okay.
Cody Askins had a road show. So it's roughly around that time. Yep.
Yeah. And we got connected there, and little did we know that here just 3 years later, we would be doing this, and I'd be helping tell your story. Now, Simon Legacy is Simon Legacy Financial. I need to make sure I add that, because you're literally operating now in 3 verticals, not just life insurance, life, health and Medicare, and also retirement planning, right?
Yes, sir.
What makes your opportunity a unique opportunity in the space for agents looking to get started? And how have you been able to see some of that success realized with some of the people that you brought on? Because I know, I like the quote you had. You said, I could not run from who I was.
Yeah.
I had to stop and write that down. I could not run from who I was.
Yeah, man.
And so if you're listening today and you're watching, there's something inside of you that says, this is who I am. And I don't want to run from who I am. And too long I've been running, or too long I've been sitting still and not embracing who I really am. And maybe now is the time to step out. And maybe I need to get connected with Marcus, because he didn't run. And now look at his trajectory. What does the opportunity look like with those 3 verticals now with what you're offering agents who partner with you? And what has some of the success been for some of the people that you're cheering on your team? I know there's Brittany, but there's many more.
Yep. Absolutely. So the main 3 verticals comes down to the health side, as far as Medicare, ACA, things of that nature, a full plethora of life insurance, and the retirement sector. So one of the things I said at the beginning is being able to solve people's problems. So I think as an agency is we have opportunities to be able to solve problems in all those sectors, but also we have an opportunity for people that also have a passion for people that are looking for a career, that are looking for an opportunity, that sustainability, that time freedom. We actually have the infrastructure, the actual leadership, the system and tools to do so. And I've been just blessed and fortunate just to see other agents be able to plug into this on day one and start to have those success stories. I'm seeing people to be able to transition their family's trajectory within a short period of time. Seeing those individuals like Destiny or Latoya's or Janae or Kita's and all those individuals that have so much potential that's been helping a lot of families over the last few years. Seeing what the opportunity has done for them, I'm more than certain that anyone that's saying, hey, you know what? If I want to get involved in the insurance industry, is this for me? And I would ask yourself, one of the things that Roger asks us all the time, what and who are you fighting for? And every time I ask myself that question, Roger, it reminds me every day as to why I'm doing this, every single day. Because I see how the decisions that I made have helped so many families on the health side, especially, but on the life insurance side, I'm just seeing that peace and security that as an agency we've been providing for people. but the income opportunity as well. I know oftentimes a lot of people don't like to talk about money, right? But the thing about I realize is it comes down to your relationship with money.
Mm.
When I look at money as a tool, as a resource to help people, right? To be able to further along ministries, to be able to give back, to be able to pour more back into our organization and teams and help people grow, not just all the fancy and shiny things, right? So this vehicle, our agency says, hey, yes, there's a huge opportunity for you to be able to help people, but we also provide that infrastructure for that income opportunity, for that tool and that resource and that vehicle for you to be able to take advantage of what you're fighting for in that why as well.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. So what's the trajectory for Simon Legacy, man? Where are you taking this?
Yeah, so Simon Legacy Financial, man, the goal is 1,000 brokers and agents nationwide, right? To produce hundreds of multi six-figure income earners, to have tens of thousands of clients nationwide that are saying, hey, you know what? If I was looking for how do I understand life insurance? I said it at the beginning of the call, Roger. I think people look at life insurance only because you're going to die someday. But I think if you change your mindset and say, no, it's because the people that I love are going to live, then how do I understand how life insurance works? And I think that's can be the scariest piece, right? It is the lack of understanding. So one thing we do at Simon Legacy Financial is we provide the educational piece. We actually provide the heart piece. We provide the love piece to help you navigate through those life changes as to identify what's best for you, whether that be life insurance or health insurance. And then we also provide those tools and resources for a person that may say, you know what, I went to college and that probably didn't work, or I have a career that, unfortunately it may not be working. And you were looking at the insurance industry for so long, right? Kind of like I was, right? And you were hesitant for just jumping out there. Having the right coach and mentor to duplicate, to follow, to model like Roger, not to make him smile too much, but here's the thing, his leadership is second to none as well. So it's just really being able to connect with individuals here in this agency, like myself, or like the Britneys of the world and things like that. That's what we're looking to do, is just to impact the world, 10,000 families, one day at a time.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And I want to encourage you in that dream, because one day, when I got started in the business back in 2011, when you were going to college, I think, or just getting out of college, maybe on your undergraduate degree, I had a vision of having thousands of agents, and not just having thousands of agents. That wasn't the goal. It was actually helping thousands of people change their life through this industry. That was really my kind of like my MO, because I saw an opportunity, what I was able to do in a very short period of time, like you, to go out and earn a significant, $10,000 a month income, and within a month was so attainable. And I thought, man, I could teach people how to do this. And if I could show people a system and teach people how to do this, we could change people's lives. And since then, man, I've been on a mission. Wow. I think one of the closing statements of every talk that I ever give is, your message is important. You need to learn how to tell it, because it will change people's lives. And Marcus, I want to inspire, encourage, and edify you in your own goal of 1,000 people, 1,000 families, 1,000, because you're not just impacting the individual, you impact their family. Because they have a 14-month-old daughter, they have a new wife, they have a new husband, they have 2 other boys, they have other daughters, they have sisters and brothers that are going to be impacted by their success. It is an overflow of your life that impacts people. And man, we are in a life-changing business. And the cool thing I love about Simon Legacy Financial is that there is a turnkey system for agents to walk in the door and work remotely from home. They don't have to live in South Carolina, do they, to join your team?
Not at all. Nationwide. Not at all.
Nationwide. They can work from home. They can work remotely. They can learn turnkey systems and get plugged into a daily community of success, working in the health space, in the life space, specifically for telesales, field sales, and you know both. And
Yes.
now retirement planning for retirement protection for our senior clients. Man, no better thing than that. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's like a trifecta of winning and changing people's lives. Marcus,
Yes,
I commend you, man, on your mission. How do people get a hold of you? What's your contact info? How do they get on your IG? How do they follow you? How do they contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very simple and free. So if you're on Facebook, very simple. My name on Facebook is Marcus Simon. So that's MarcusSimon on Facebook. On Instagram is actually at Mr. Wealthy Vibes _. Again, at Mr. Wealthy Vibes _. And then finally, one of the most direct, you can go directly to my website to either book a consultation, schedule a one-on-one, or if you're that person that's looking to be hired on as an agent, that's www.simonlegacyfinancial.com. Again, www.simonlegacyfinancial.com. And that's our direct information for you.
Beautiful, man. Well, I can't wait for this episode to drop and for people to hear your story. I think more people need to understand that what they see as a setback is simply a setup for the next best chapter of their life, for a life-changing opportunity that's going to impact everyone around them. So
Absolutely.
Kudos to you, man. Whatever we can do to help you on the journey. I'm looking forward to having Brittany on this podcast. So you can tell
she'll
her,
be on next.
we talked about her. Yeah, she is a formidable woman. I love her grit. She was on that call with us, on that leadership call we did last night. And when I see her, I'm like, she's going places. She's impacting people. And I understand she's got some pipes too. She can sing, huh?
Listen, she's a Jacqueline of many trades, man. She's phenomenal.
That is phenomenal. So shout out to you, man, for supporting your people so well, loving on them, and creating a path for success. Marcus, thanks for being on the Life Insurance Academy podcast.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for today. That's a wrap. Hope you got a lot from that one. That is one cool dude right there. I love the energy. I love the story. Your setback is your setup for the next best chapter of your life. Do it. Guys, this has been a fun episode. We'll see you on the next episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast.